you love movies and movie discussions, you've come to the right place. Who am I, you ask? I am The Wiz, and I'm here to review the 1970 political drama The Conformist, directed by Bernardo Bertolucci. Now, before I get into my 3 points, let me talk about the plot of the film. The plot revolves around this mid-level worker of the fascist party in Italy. I believe his name is Marcello Clerici, and the film is about him, and it tasks him to arrange the assassination of his old teacher, who is now a political dissident against the fascist party of Italy. Meanwhile, it goes through other plot lines, such as Marcello's personal life involving his fiancée, I believe it's his fiancée, and his relationship with another person who works with the fascist party as well. And now that we've gotten through the plot, let me get to my first point that I want to let you know about. The first point is its absolutely beautiful visuals and camera plays. My God, is this movie gorgeous. It is, oh, it is so gorgeous. Like, I think the thing that's interesting about the beauty of this film is that you're dealing with absolute evil when it comes to the people that the film deals with. Either it's people who are intentionally evil or people that ignore evil. But everything is so gorgeous. Like, the most evil places that you can go into are usually the most visually stunning. The buildings that are where all the politicians, where Marcello goes and to get his orders, are usually utterly gorgeous looking and full of wide spaces and not a lot of people and things like that. It is absolutely stunning to look at. And the way that the camera is placed in certain scenes is also well done to give it this really stylish feel. One example I would give is when Marcello's meeting his mother. There's a sweeping shot with leaves all over the ground and the wind sweeping. It is just a gorgeous shot to look at. If you see a trailer of it, that shot's likely in the trailer. Don't watch the original trailer from 1970. It spoils the entire film. It's like a 5-minute trailer, and they spoil what happens in the film. But again, the visuals and the way that the camera is shot in this is absolutely stunning. It is beautiful to look at. Now, my second point, and this is going to be a hard point to get across, so I'll try my best here. It is a searing look at political corruption. A lot of people want to hone in on this movie and say, this is about the evils of fascism. And while I do agree that fascism in itself is evil in the way that it was used around World War II, I don't think this is necessarily about fascism. Yes, everybody who is evil is fascist in this movie. I get that. That's not what I'm debating. I think this is more about political corruption at its core. Because there are people like Marcello in all types of political functions. There are people that are like that in democratic functions, communistic functions, socialist functions. Any kind of political group or any kind of political working of a country are going to have people like this. And I think that's the benefit of this movie. Because yes, it shows the evil of this specific ideology and the specific political leaning. But I think the film more or less shows what political corruption can do in its purest form. I get the entire point of the film is that it's based off of fascist Italy at the time of World War II. I understand that. But I think the power of it is that it shows basically what political corruption is, when it doesn't even matter what the ideology truly is in this one. Like the only thing in the film that really denotes as fascistic is just the locations and the artwork and everything, the way it works. And I guess the another way is how the society works in that time. And there are people all over this movie that you can look at and go, that's kind of like what I deal with here in America, or that's how I deal with things in England, or wherever you are. You can definitely see how any political ideology can foster this type of corruption and how bad it can get. And then the third point I want to get across is, it's again with the visuals, but it's as stylistic as it is cold. This film reminded me a little bit of No Country for Old Men, where I think the point of it is to make you feel empty, make you feel cold, make you feel bothered a bit. Maybe not even a bit, but just uneasy at the end of the film. And I won't spoil the ending, and really, if you pay attention to it, it is satisfying. I think the thing that the film highlights is that no matter what you do, this evil will exist. As long as there is politics, as long as there is someone who can gain power from politics, this evil will exist. as beautiful as this movie is gorgeous. I can't get over that fact. It's juxtaposed by this really cold, heartless demeanor that this film has. And it's because it's through the eyes of this character that is inherently just heartless and is only after his own self-gain. And it becomes apparently clear at the end of the film after what he does. There are certain things that happen to this character that can make you feel bad for him. But I don't think the film dwells on that so much. Because on the one hand, yes, you can feel bad for certain things that happen to this character. But on the other hand, he is doing twice as worse. So it's more or less a film where it shows exactly not just how fascists act, but political people, when they are corrupt and they do it for the wrong reasons, how they act. I think as beautiful as this movie is, it is a very cold and something that I think people, when they watch it, will find somewhat unsatisfying, but I think that's kind of the point. Okay, so who do I recommend this to? Political junkies. I mean, God, if you have not seen this and you are into politics, and I mean into politics, if you listen to a lot of political podcasts, if you like to discuss politics at a granular level, I think this is a must-watch. It is something that you need to see. I think some will look at this and go, oh, this is why fascism is evil. Yes, I believe fascism is evil too, but I would actually deposit that in its essence that it is solely about political corruption, and that this could happen in any political ideology. I don't think it's just about fascism, but I think because it's about fascism, I think people gravitate towards that type of answer, that it is about fascism. Fascism is evil. This is what this movie is saying. Yes, it is evil, but I think it's talking about all political corruption. And the other that I would recommend it to, if you like style and lush visuals, I cannot understate how gorgeous this film looks. I kind of wish that this guy had a better transfer, because I think that the colors didn't pop as much as I would like to, but man, if we get an updated 4K of this, I am buying it right away. The visuals, the way that the film looks, the colors, the camera placement, and to the point of what the actors look like, the style of clothes they wear, look stunning. Gorgeous. It reminds me of Barry Lyndon. The way I thought about Barry Lyndon is it looks like every scene is like a framing of a piece of art, like of a painting, and I feel the same way about this film. It is utterly gorgeous, even when it gets to the darker sides of this film. Like, it is utterly stunning to look at. So who do I not recommend this for? Well, if you're somebody who needs a satisfying ending. I think some people will find it satisfying, but there are a lot of people who watch movies and they kind of want a definitive ending. They want either a happy ending or a sad ending. There are smart people too who do not like ambiguous endings. And while I don't think this film is entirely ambiguous, there is ambiguity of what happens with this character and how we're supposed to feel about it. And I think that is something that people will find sort of unsatisfying. And also, if you don't like films that deal in moral gray, it's kind of hard to say this is moral gray. I think a lot of people will argue this is actually moral black in this. Like, everybody is just evil. Everyone is just miserable. But there is discussion of what people do when they're confronted with evil but do nothing, or that tacitly accept it because it is easier to do so than to fight, because then you don't get hurt. I think that is a dealing with moral gray. Some may not believe that or agree with that, and that's fine, but I think that's why it deals in moral gray more than I think people realize. So if you don't want a film that really questions the morality of something or deals in those moral grays, and you want something that has a definitive answer to it, I think you might not want to watch this. Overall, I recommend this film. I did like it. It didn't hit the way I thought it was going to hit me. I definitely love the visuals, and I like the style of the film. It is something that I think, like the film that I watched, The Grand Illusion, it is something that I will come back to. And I would want to come back to see if I get more out of it. Because I think the first viewing, the first thing I got out of it in my first viewing is, one, it is a cold movie. And two, it doesn't exactly point out what I think people think it is. Now, if you guys want to debate me on this, or if you guys want to sound off in the comments what you think you disagree, I'd love to hear it. I will definitely write back, respectfully, of course, if you're respectful too. So I would love to know what you guys think, but I don't think this film exactly excoriates the main character. I don't think it exonerates him either. I think it just shows what people who are weak-willed must do in something of political turmoil and what they end up doing to survive. But I don't think it justifies what the main character does either in this movie. I think it just shows what it is, and that can be a little tough to sit through at times. Not like tough as in it's uncomfortable, but tough to really get a grip on how you feel about it. But I do like movies like this. I really do. And I did like watching it. I did like experiencing the movie. I'm just not sure if it's up on that scale of, oh, it's one of the greatest movies of all time, or if it's like, it's good. It's a good movie. I'm just not sure about that. But it's definitely something I really want to watch again. So I definitely recommend The Conformist. Now, if you want my full review on this movie, you can go to my website at IamTheWiz.com. You'll have my full written review right on the site, along with a link to the video that has this review that you've just listened to. So, for next week, we're watching all films that are based in Thanksgiving or set around Thanksgiving. I'm doing The Day Trippers on Tuesday, and Thursday, I'm going to do a review of a film that came out in the 2000s. I've actually heard good things about, but I just never gotten around to it. So I'm kind of excited of watching this. This is Pieces of April, starring Katie Holmes. I have heard good things about this film. It's one of the few films that I've heard that actually Katie Holmes is actually really good in. So I am definitely looking forward to seeing this. So tune in next week where I review Pieces of April, starring Katie Holmes, directed by Peter Hedges. I am The Wiz, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.